Hello, Mr. Nemo here. This is video number 2 of our 3-part series. This part has to do with corresponding angles and sides of shapes. So let's take a triangle and draw him up here or her 90 degrees. That's a right angle. And let's make another one that corresponds to it. And whoops, that top looks a little ugly, but oh well. Let's see. There, that's better. So we got to give these a quick label. So let's say this is A, this is B, that's C. So this one would be E, D, and F. So what we're going to look at is what sides can correspond to the other sides, which sides that are similar to the other ones. So the way I would start is I would start in the corner and make a little dash line from the 90 straight out, go through the box, straight out and touch the opposite side of the angle, and I would get FE. And that side is definitely going to correspond to whichever one I come out of this side 90 degree and touch, which is AB. So FE corresponds to AB. So we'll go like that. That one is the same as that one. Oops, I should have done that with green. Hopefully it'll work. Ooh, there we go. So green, 1 dash to the 1 dash. So the next one we look at is going to be, let's do ED. That's the longest one that's left over on the green triangle. So we're starting up here. We're looking down here. That's side ED. Well, that's obviously going to correspond to the other one on the little triangle that's the longest, which would be A to C. It's definitely A to C is longer than C to B. So ED has to correspond to AC, which would leave us with FD. And so FD is going to correspond to CB. So we have all the sides taken care of. What about the angles? Well, the one that jumps out at me first foremost would definitely be, and this is abbreviation for angle D. It has to correspond to angle C because they're both the right angles. So it corresponds to the symbol for angle C. What we're left with now is you have angle E and angle F. And again, I'm just calling them by the letter that's closest to it. So angle E is way up here. And when we went from D, we went straight up to it. And it's like the two longest sides. You got this side and that side are definitely the longest sides of that triangle, and where they meet, which is called the vertex, that is where E is. Well, that seems to jump out to me and make sense that angle E is going to correspond to where the two longest sides of triangle ABC meet, which is right up here at A. So angle E corresponds to angle A, which would just leave us with angle F. So angle F corresponds to angle B. So if you can figure that out, if you can, figure out what I did there and how you make sure that certain angles and certain sides correspond to one from the smaller triangle to the bigger and bigger to the smaller and go back and forth, if that makes sense to you, you should do fine. If not, watch the video over again and come up with ways of your own, really, to figure out which sides are corresponding to the others. Good luck and study, study, study.